and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome back to another episode of So You Think You Got Problems.
So you think you got
Tales from the
problems?
Pandemic Styles. That's right, Tales from the Pandemic Style. I'm Ron Bush. Gentlemen,
I'm like
introduce
your
yourself.
story. Where's Jeff at?
Right here.
Jeff is someplace. Jeff is over here someplace.
Jeff, what the fuck are you eating? Some seaweed or some shit? What are you
Honestly,
eating,
Jeff,
motherfucker?
please open, bottom line is we have two amazing, beautiful ladies today that are going to be our guests. We have Lila Hart and Sassee Casse. Please, both of you, take your time and introduce yourselves. Lila, you go first.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for having us on this show today. I am Lila Hart. I'm a stand-up comedian based out in Los Angeles, California, where I am currently in lockdown, baby. Yeah, 3 more months of this. I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm also 4'6". I have spina bifida and scoliosis. So I know from the Zoom chat, you guys wouldn't know that I'm disabled, but I have a disability. And I like to use my stand-up comedy to go on stage and educate people and talk about my disability. And, stand-up has really been such an amazing, beautiful outlet for me to really talk about a lot of things that used to make me very insecure and uncomfortable. And, now I have a stand-up. So I'm so excited to be here with one of my very best friends, Sassee Casse. Sassee, why don't you give yourself an introduction?
Well, you said my name, but yes, I am Sassee Casse. I hold the record for being the smallest stripper in the world.
Yay!
Wow.
Oh yeah!
2 foot 10 inches tall, and sorry if you hear little crunches in the background. My dog is eating his food right now, so he decided that he wants to eat during the video, so he can't help that. But
That's great.
But yeah, I travel the country to different gentlemen's clubs performing. They hire me to work for 2 to 3 days at a time. I'm what you call a feature dancer. So they pay us to be there, and then we get tips, of course. And I also do like private parties,
That's awesome. Hey,
So, yeah.
I'm Jeff Keller. I'm a writer, comedian, and tour all over. So how did you get into stripping? How did you find out? This is my thing.
Jerry Springer, to be honest.
What?
Really?
Yeah, that's how I got started. I'm 31 years old. When I was 18, they had messaged me on MySpace when that was popular. And they're like, hey, we want you to come out on our show, and I was like, okay, let's do this. It was pretty funny. My mom's like, you are not leaving. And I did the whole, I'm 18, I'll do what I want attitude. And just kind of, I left they had the show in Chicago. I got in an airplane. And pretty much things went from there. They had a gentleman's club owner there with some of his girls on the show. And he saw me and he's like, oh my goodness, you'd be perfect for, the entertainment business. So he got a hold of, an agency that he knew. He's like, you need to check out this girl, Cassie. And, she does pull tricks. She shakes her butt. She does gymnastics. She'd be perfect for your company. And that's kind of how I got started. And, 12 years later, traveling the country, making money. And it's how I met Lila, too. I worked at a club in Vegas, and that's how we met. And we have been best friends.
Wow. So Lila, how did you get a similar question? How did you get into stand-up comedian? And then tell us about how you guys met.
Okay, so I have a degree in broadcast productions. I went to Washington State University, and my dream was...
Wait, hold up. Go Cougs.
Yeah!
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs!
Go-
Pullman!
Hold up a second. Wait, girl. Go play.
Oh my gosh, this is great.
Go play. Come on now. Come on now.
Wazoo, go Cougs!
Come on. Hey. I ain't
That's
even playing.
hilarious.
Oh my
Come on now.
gosh, you just made my day. This is
Come
amazing.
on now. Tell me you don't love
so
Pullman.
great.
Tell me you didn't
Yeah.
love Pullman.
Pullman, Washington. So I graduated in 2013. My degree is in broadcast production, and my dream was always to become a newscaster, because behind a news desk, right, you wouldn't know that I was 4'6" because of most of my life I was very insecure about having my spina bifida, and I thought if I was a news anchor, I mean, I didn't know that in 2020 we'd be on Zoom chats and I could be catfishing dudes all day, but whatever. I moved out here and I wanted to be, I wanted to go to different auditions, and every time I'd go to an audition, I wouldn't get the parts because people would see I was so small. And then I had this epiphany in 2016 where I realized, oh my gosh, if I become a stand-up comedian, they'll have to write parts in for me, and that will give me the opportunity. Well, people will have to, give me an opportunity.
That's very smart.
So I started doing comedy, and I was at the Comedy Store when I was approached by the Beecher's Madhouse people. And so I did my first show at Beecher's Madhouse, which is like an oddity club. And I was the miniature Ariana Grande. And Cassie was, of course, the world's smallest stripper. And we met working at this nightclub. And we did a couple shows together. And instantly, I was totally attracted to just her. Like, she's just so full of life and so fun. And we are just two peas in a pod. We've had so many amazing adventures. It's just crazy to think that most of 2019, actually, me and Cassie were together. We filmed a ton of videos together.
I'm gonna cry because I miss you so much. Stop it.
Aww.
I know it's gonna make me cry, but we filmed a bunch of videos together. We got on World Star a few times because of some funny videos that we filmed on Instagram. And actually, I went with Cassie to this. Was it called StripperCon, Cassie?
EDI Expo. Like, it's like entertainers, adult entertainment something. I don't know.
Right. Okay.
So,
but it's a stripper expo.
So
in
this
Vegas?
is amazing. I'm gonna tell.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it's not adult con, but go ahead.
Yeah, so it's like a stripper expo, and Cassie invites me as her guest, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I gotta go, So we go, and we have this amazing time in Vegas, and Cassie is like, Lila, I have a private party, like a bachelor party. Help me,
This is great, guys.
Party? And she's like, so I'm gonna hop into the suitcase. You're gonna wheel me into the room, and then I'm gonna hop out. So we get all dressed up, dolled up. I pull Cassie through Caesar's Palace in the suitcase. It zips open. She's smoking her vape, out of the suitcase. People are watching us. We're laughing, and she's popping out, waving at people. We get to the bachelor's party. I walk in. They think that I'm the stripper. They're all excited. And then, of course, Cassie pops out of the suitcase, and it's just this amazing event. The men were very happy. But Cassie, she's very strong, and, she can do a lot of tricks that a lot of strippers aren't able to do. I mean, she can do handstands, and she climbs to the top of the pool. I mean, the first time I saw it in real life was at this stripper con event, and it was incredible. I mean, she was all the way up there. It was really high up, and then she came right down, and then the money was flowing. It was so cool.
Cassie, what I love, first of all,
I am mesmerized by you two.
I'm completely mesmerized. So first of all, please let everybody know where they can find your videos at real quick, and then I want to ask Cassie a question. Where can they find all your videos at?
Yeah, you can find me at Love Lila Hart, and then also on my show, Small Talk with Lila Hart on Channel 310 on YouTube.
Amazing.
I got
amazing.
questions for you, Lila, later. I got questions.
So Cassie, you look like you absolutely love it. And I know Lilas, and I know she owns. What I love about Lila is that she owns who she is. And Lila, I want to get back to you.
That's what I was attracted to when I met her.
Right? And Lila, I want to get back to you about your insecurities in a second, but Cassie, you just fucking own it, right? And to be the world's smallest stripper, and men are pigs. I'm not. I'm gay. I'm completely normal in every way, shape, or form.
You're a pig.
Thank you.
You're a black gay pig.
So besides that small drawback that sometimes gets in my way, I know men can be pigs, okay? What was one of the craziest things that's ever happened to you being the world's smallest stripper?
It's like, man, I'm all for this sometimes, but the couples, wanting to, be like, oh, hey, can you come back to our hotel room? Can we, and I'm not gonna lie, it's happened a couple of times, but it's just,
right.
it's
Work,
funny
girl,
some of
work.
these situations that they want me to do, and I'm just like, well, can you meet me at the club first so I can know you're not just some creepy internet couple wanting to hide me in your basement,
Right.
And that's, I always play it safe, if people, like, I don't, meet up with people outside the club if they want to hang out, I'll be like, you have to come to the club, meet me in a comfortable, safe place. And hey, if we get to talking and I get to be your friend, then maybe I'll go, play around with you and your wife or something. But I'm not gonna just go and meet you at your hotel without meeting you first in a comfortable place.
Yeah.
So are you bisexual or what's your?
I don't date women, but I have fun with women,
Right, gotcha.
You know.
Very good.
And hey, no barking.
Evidently, he's co-signing.
You know how many times I have to say that to Mike, by the way, no barking?
Right. But one of the crazy more questions that I get, like just out of the blue, like people, it's only happened once, but it's just like the ignorance that people don't use their brain. A guy once came up to me and he's like, so were you born little or did you become little?
And Mike is sorry for asking that question. Mike, he apologizes now.
I didn't even know what to say. Honestly, like I just laughed, and like later on I came up with the thought of like, yeah, I used to be 6 feet tall, but my ignorance and stupidity shrunk me, so you better watch out, sir.
Hilarious.
Wow.
Hilarious.
And so Lila, the same question for you. You're 4'6".
Wait. I got a question for Lila though.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
Because Lila, you went to Pullman, you were in Edward R. Murrow program. Oh, I know all about that. Believe me, I graduated from Washington State University.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Okay,
You
so
see
you're
the
out in
afro in the
Pullman.
background? That's him.
Yeah. So you're in Pullman. Ain't nothing out there but alcohol and other people. It does get wild in Pullman. We know this. Now, what's the wildest thing you did in Pullman?
That's what I was about to ask.
Oh my God.
I had to set it up.
Okay, you know what? One time so this is back before they had, we didn't have Uber back then. But one time I rode around with a taxi cab driver while he was picking up people, and he just let me ride around with him, and I was telling people that I was his apprentice, and I was drunk as shit, just riding around picking up random people. Then got out of that car, started riding around with the pizza delivery man person, dropping off the pizzas to the frat parties. But I will say, when I was at Wazoo, I was a wild one. My first drink ever, because I didn't start drinking until I was 18, but was a shot of 151 in the dorms right before a football game. And one shot for me back then was a lot.
Damn, you'd be wasted on one shot.
Oh my God. Well, I've been, so here's what's crazy. I'm 3 years sober now, but I mean,
Congratulations.
Woo!
Party time for sure. It was a good time, but I also, they had the University of Idaho, which is 7 miles away.
Moscow.
So, we would just bounce between that. I will say this. When I started college, I had a group of best friends. There were 5 of us when we were freshmen. I was the only one to graduate at the end of the 4 years because, you just party so much and things happen. I would go to class wasted as shit, but I'm Asian. So my mom, she was like, you better get A. So I still went to class, even though I was drunk.
So how many times did you get wasted at the Coupe?
Once I got my fake ID. Oh my God. Yeah, I had a fake ID. I used to use my sister's ID that said that I was 5'3", which I guess 4'6" and 5'3" to the security guard. Maybe if you're a big security guard, you don't that looks like the same. But
and did you get harassed by any football players?
What?
Did you get harassed by any football players?
No. everybody was pretty nice to me, you know, like I was just but I was definitely like, it's crazy to think about that I became a comedian because I remember walking around Pullman, and in fact, this is when I first got my Facebook, and I would like go up to people and be like, add me on Facebook, Lila Hart, and I would just tell people to follow me on Facebook, and people would come up to me at parties or just like, you know, be like, oh, are you some sort of comedian? Because I would always be talking, and I was, you know, as us comedians are, you know, we kind of just become the life of the party. But I definitely will say that Pullman definitely led me into this crazy journey.
Lila, were you
Ron,
a kinky?
Ron, so you know, you get a picture of this in Pullman. It's nothing around there. It's all college kids and no parents.
It's nothing.
So you got
That sounds like heaven.
students there away from home for the first time. And they go to these fraternity parties and get drunk. I mean, they touring parties and get drunk. And let me tell you something. It is out of control.
It's like just imagine like a neighborhood, but you could just walk into any house and there's a party going on every night. Like that's how insane it was. And you could just walk into any house party. And the craziest part about like people will be going to house parties in snow, in feet of snow. You know, we would be in our snow boots, still dressed up with our big coats.
So Lila, were you a kinky girl while you're in
I was wild. I did all. I was wild as hell. You know, and I think, you know, that's why me and Cassie are so close, because we just have this mutual respect for each other. And
we have a lot of the same experiences.
We just
right.
like, I feel like we, you know, we love each other unconditionally. She accepts me for as I am. I accept her as who she is. And then we just kind of realize that, you know, life is short, you know, but you shouldn't have fun and just be kind to one another, you know, because we're all just trying to figure it out.
Now, I have a question for you too. I have a question for both of you. What was the most dangerous situation you've been in, like as far as stand-up comedy, and Cassie as far as stripping, like after a show or during a show? Like Lila, have you ever been like really heckled off stage or anything along those lines?
You know what? I will say, so the craziest experience actually through Cassie, I actually got to perform at a couple of strip clubs. So I performed stand-up comedy at strip clubs, and I was flown out to Nashville, and I performed at Deja Vu at the strip club there, which was an amazing experience because it's the most difficult place, I think, to perform stand-up. Because I get on stage and they're like, why is this bitch not naked yet, you know? And it was really hard. But as far as being heckled on stage, I think that when I get on stage, people are more like shocked as like, because they've never really seen somebody like me before. So they're more like in like, what is she gonna say? So they're more like kind of gripped into it, you know? And as the years have gone by, I feel like the more comfortable I've been able to deal with situations a lot easier. I've just been through a lot of shit, so it's just like after performing at the strip club, I like literally feel like I can perform anywhere.
And Cassie, how about the same thing for you? What's the most dangerous situation you've been in?
As far as dangerous, I mean, I always travel with people, but there was one time where I was with a female friend of mine for work, and this guy at the club was all nice, you know, talking to me. You know, I had a boyfriend at the time, you know, so we were just talking regular, and you know, he was just a true gentleman. And then, you know, he's like, oh, are you staying at this hotel? I was like, yeah, how'd you know that? He's like, oh, well, it's the biggest hotel in the city. I figured that's where they put the girls up. I was like, yeah, you know, didn't think about it. Get back to my hotel room, get a phone call from the front desk, like, there's this guy down here, says he knows you. So I go down there with my friend, and it's that guy, and I hear him talking to the front desk lady, being like, hey, what's her room number? And she's like, oh, well, we don't give that out. And I was like, I asked him, I was like, hey, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, I just wanted to make sure you got to your hotel safe. And total complete vibe change. You went from a gentleman to a creepy guy, like in 5 seconds. I was like, yeah, I'm safe. Okay, have a good night. Thanks. Bye. Like, just, and you know, I've had a guy at a club be like, hey, you want to come back to my apartment? We can smoke weed out of a homemade microwave bong. I'm like, what the hell? A microwave bong?
That's creative.
Yeah,
that's creative. I've never heard of it.
It was just like, I don't get it. No, I'm not gonna come back to your apartment and smoke out of a microwave bong. You're gonna cut me up into pieces and put me in it, probably.
Now, do you guys find it difficult to date?
I was just gonna say the same thing.
Yes and no. It's hard to find, people that don't want to sleep with you just for the experience. And I mean, I used to do that all the time when I was, a teenager, but now I'm more like, I want you to see me for me and not just my size,
Preach, girl. I know how to. Being a gorgeous black man, sometimes they just, they judge me for the wrong things.
Why you gotta ruin the moment with your bullshit?
But
I was just identifying with our
these
guest,
girls
Mike.
talk. Why you gotta ruin the moment with your
I'm
bullshit?
just identifying with our wonderful guest here, Mike.
Let Cassie talk. Why you gotta fuck shit up?
I just found another in my head, in my brain. It came to me. This is probably actually the creepiest situation I've ever been in. I had a guy follow me to like 3 different clubs, and one club was in Michigan, one club was in Philadelphia, one club was in Denver, Colorado. So those are all over the place. And he claimed that one of the times that it was his twin brother, and and that he travels for work. But this guy is so distinctive, like you can spot him out of anybody. He's this Indian guy, and he has not 1, but 2 lazy eyes.
How do you know he's looking at you?
I know when I see this guy, I know it's him. And I hadn't seen him in like 7 years. And all of a sudden, he shows up to the club that I was working at in Denver. And I spotted him from across the way. I'm like, oh my God, no, you're here? What the hell? And he's like, yeah, I transferred here for work. I'm doing work here. And he gets the same pictures every single time. It's one picture standing next to me, one picture of me sitting in his lap. And it's just
weird.
Super fan.
Well, he can't make it out with his lazy eyes. You don't know what's going on.
And he had offered for me to go to Florida with him one time. Like, oh yeah, I have a house out in Florida. You can bring you and your friends and your bodyguard can come with you. I'm like, yeah, no, thank you.
Wow. And so Lila, and then I'll pass this with the same question to Cassie, and then Mike can follow up. I'm sure you have a follow up on this one. You had mentioned your insecurities, right? You're growing up. When you're younger, people can be very evil, mean, say nasty things. What was that like growing up? Going through high school and all that, with your disability, and Cassie being as short as you are. And how did you overcome those insecurities?
Well, I didn't know who wants to. Yeah, go. You go.
Okay, so
yeah, Lila,
well, I'll bring it back to Pullman actually. So when I went to Washington State, I really wanted to be in a sorority, because when you're in a sorority, that means you're like accepted by a group of girls, and I rushed my freshman year. I rushed and I went to each of the houses for a week, and during that week, I made this friend. Her name was Heaven Snow, and she was this gorgeous blonde girl. And at the end of Rush Week, we had to pick out our envelopes, and she got the choice of any of the sororities she wanted to be in, and no sorority wanted me. So we walked off the lawn together, and I'll never forget walking off the lawn with her and looking back at like the 500 girls, and then being like, oh my gosh, they're really leaving, and it was kind of that whole. I had a lot of guys tell me, especially at Pullman, like, Lila, you're really gorgeous, you're really pretty, but my friends are going to make fun of me for dating a midget, and I can't date you because my frat brothers are going to make fun of me for being with you, So that's, I think, what led me to a lot of my, like, drinking, and just, it really messed with my self-esteem. And, I dated a lot of guys who wanted to date me in secrecy because they didn't feel comfortable with my disability. And it's crazy now. I'm 28 years old. I've been sober for 3 years. And once, I know it's so cliche that they say, when you really, truly learn to love yourself, that's when you find, love. And when I was in college, I was always crying over an Eric. There were 2 different Erics that I cried over.
Oh, dang.
I was always crying over an Eric who broke my heart in Louisiana, and Eric who broke my heart in San Diego. And then I actually ended up with an Eric, and I've been with my Eric Abenante now for 2 years, and we're in our townhouse. He clearly loves me. See that big old portrait back there? That's me.
Oh, that's cool. What sorority?
By the way, Eric is a great friend of mine. And he's a very funny guy, and he's adorable as well. He's a sexy guy, very sexy. I love seeing the two of you together. You're a great couple.
What sorority didn't pick you?
None of them. None of them wanted me.
No,
None of them wanted me. And the worst part was, is my senior year, I was at a party, I'm at this frat party, and this drunk sorority girl comes up to me and she's crying. And she says, I feel so guilty, but I just have to tell you that nobody wanted you because we didn't want to be known as the house with a crippled girl. And
wow.
Damn, you should have shot that bitch.
It would have happened if I was around, but we weren't friends then.
This is 2009 to 2013, so you have to understand Instagram wasn't really popping back then. Facebook was starting to blow up, but it wasn't really considered cool to be friends with the person that's different. I feel like times have really changed now. As a collective, as a disabled community, we have more of a voice. I was able to find Cassie. I mean, it was a journey that took me to find Cassie. Do you know what I'm saying? First of all, to get comfortable with the fact that I have spina bifida. Then I go to my first disability conference and I meet other people with spina bifida, so then I come face to face with other people who look like me. And then, those people with spina bifida, there's different ranges of what can happen in disability, right? I'm 4'6", but I walk with a bit of a limp. Some people are in wheelchairs. Some people use walking canes. I had no realization of that because I did not even want to accept that I had a disability. So while I'm in Pullman, I don't even say I'm disabled. I mean, I would if I met a guy, I would literally tell him I was born premature. That's why I was small, which makes no sense now because I'm premature babies get bigger. They don't just stay what? But I felt so ashamed of the word disabled. And then now, as my journey has continued into this self-love and acceptance, it's brought in so many different people into my life. And one of the greatest gifts is having Cassie in my life, and it's just been through this journey that I've been able to connect with other disabled people. But it's crazy to think that, at in Pullman, I was the only little person on campus. I was the only at these parties, I was the only disabled person getting fucked up, and I didn't see anybody that looked like me. And now I have so many friends who are little and so many friends who have all different types of disabilities, so it's just, even my comedy has evolved and grown and changed because of that, when I first started doing stand-up, I didn't have Cassie in my life yet, so just to see how the evolution of jokes has changed now that I'm kind of fully immersed in this group and self-acceptance of
now, do you do one-woman shows about this, or do you do any type of lecturing to empower people in your situation? Because it sounds like that's something you should be doing.
You're incredibly powerful, Lila. Incredibly powerful.
Thank you. My show Small Talk is the show I really do that with, and it's I come out, I do a 10-minute monologue, and then I have a small talk panel, and that's where I invite another person who has a disability or somebody who's different, and we have a conversation for 5 minutes. So I want to share the stage with somebody else that looks like me, so I can be hey, you may think I'm different, but look, there's more of us, right? And then I have comedians and musicians perform, and it's just this whole collective to kind of show that we're all different, but we're all very talented, and we have an art to express and share.
Right. But do you know how many people are going through what you went through growing up? I think it would be very powerful to do a one-woman show talking your journey, what you just talked about so far. I just think that would be so powerful and help people that are in 9th grade, 7th grade, 5th grade, college, help people deal with their demons that are in their 20s. I just think your story would be so empowering to those people.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I have a friend that has your condition. Lila, do you suffer from a lot of back pain? Have you had back surgery or anything to help it?
So I've had 7 major operations. I have 2 major back surgeries, most on my left foot. I am currently not in pain, but what's crazy is if I lift anything that's over 15 pounds, I could throw out my back for a whole day. So thankfully, my boyfriend is so loving, so supportive. And so when we go to the grocery store, he'll carry all the bags in. He does he really helps me a lot. But yeah, it's I'm just really grateful to have gone through this experience and then to come out of the other side and to be sober and substance free, and like, because it was really bad for a while, you know, because I'm just trying to escape my body and not, it's crazy to think that at 22, 23, I like hated my body, and now at 28, I love everything about it. I love my chopstick legs, you know. I don't care that I can't move my left toe. It's all good. And I'm just so grateful to have friends like Cassie who fully love themselves and love their bodies, and it's just out doing her thing as the world's smallest stripper. I mean, it's really badass. And we've had so many fun adventures, and I would not have experienced this full coming to circle like this, you know, without having gone through all that pain.
That, Lila, that what you just said there kind of sums it up. I mean, you know, just you know, that's what our podcast really tries to get to, is to the core of what it means to love yourself. You know, because most Americans, most people, they don't love themselves deep down inside, and they are considered perfect or normal or they're blonde hair, blue eye, whatever that look is, you know, and they still have their own problems. And here you are, this goddess who owns everything that you are. And that journey, to listen to that journey is really powerful. And so then, Cassie, we bring the same question to you. The stage is yours right now. You know, what was it like coming up in high school? And just, you know, what was the process of you loving yourself that you went through?
Like dating, you know, like I've had, you know, some of the same experiences, Lila, you know, like, oh, I don't want to date you because you're too short. You know, I had guys say that to me.
I get that all the time, Cassie.
My shortness is going to bring a whole new level to things that you never thought could be possible.
Don't tell Mike that. You're going to get him excited.
Exactly. Cassie, just so you know, Mike's handle is Demon Midget. So,
yeah.
Cassie, I love the fact that you're so athletic. See, this is the thing that people don't know. Like, which I think
we'll get back
cool.
to that question real quick. I'll show you this.
Yeah.
I love it.
People
hey, what is she doing?
Athletic, which I think is
guys,
cool.
Remember, nobody, the audience can't see her. What did she just do?
Oh yeah.
She was doing no leg push-ups.
Handstand push-ups.
Handstand push-ups. Thank you.
Handstand push-ups. I missed that. Damn.
Yeah, handstand push-ups, and she kills the game. There's a video that they're in where she does that. And I mean, when I saw that, I just fell out of my chair. I was like, okay, I've seen everything now. That's just fantastic. But so Cassie, did you get teased a lot when you were in school, and what was that like?
I did. You know, I mean, you know, elementary school was okay. You know, middle school was hell. You know, high school was a little bit better, but I was in high school with one of my good friend's brothers. She has not spina bifida, but cerebral palsy. Okay. And she had to go to a separate high school than her brother because he would make fun of her. That's how much of an asshole her brother is. Wow. And, you know, every day he'd try to throw me in a trash can, just little things. And, you know, come to find out that, oh, he liked me. After, you know, once I became a stripper, he's like, oh, hey, can I take you out on a date? I was like, yeah, what about, you know, high school? And he's like, oh, well, that was just me. No, get the fuck out of here, buddy. Not happening.
Wow. Wow.
But, you know, my biggest, you know, I kind of was like I wasn't in like the popular crowd. I was kind of with everybody, you know, because, you know, I was different. So I would hang out with, you know, like the alternative kids. I was friends with popular kids. I was friends with the jocks. I kind of fit in everywhere. And my biggest thing that I was self-conscious about was my chest. You know, there's all these other little people out here that have freaking like double D's. I'm like, well, where the hell are my boobs? But my mother blessed me with a beautiful ass. So that's what gave me my confidence. Walking down those hallways, seeing these high school boys look at my butt. I'm like, yeah, I don't have titties, but I have a killer ass.
Your ass is amazing. As a gay man, I have to say your ass is amazing.
Leave her ass alone, Ron. Leave her alone.
You know Ron's an ass, man. Come on,
it doesn't have any hair. It's not covered in hair, so I'm not interested.
That's true.
Don't tell that lie. Hey, Ron,
Gave
you
me
couldn't tell that
confidence.
lie without smiling. Come on. Man.
So the two. So let's so today. First of all, Mike's name. Mike, how tall are you?
5'5".
So you're 5'5". So his one of his nicknames is Demon Midget of comedy. How do you guys feel? We have the N-word nigga. How do you feel, how did the two of you ladies feel about the word midget? Where is that in your community?
To me, like when I was younger, I hated the word. I didn't like it. I would, cuss people out. I'd punch guys in the nuts. The whole everything.
Fuck yes, I love you.
As an adult, I'm more accepting of it because a lot of people don't know that it's derogatory.
Right.
They are just like, oh, okay, you're a midget, because in the dictionary it says midget is someone of small stature. In the dictionary, dwarfism says a mythical creature.
Right.
Damn,
Right.
Webster.
So
Wow.
it's so now, and I use it more for promotions too, because when you say, oh, you're a little person stripper, somebody could think I'm 5'2" or something.
Right.
But when you
right.
say midget stripper, people know that you're under 3 feet tall.
Right.
You're, or 3 feet around that, so they know that that's how short you really are.
So you own the word. You own the word just like African Americans own the word nigga. You've taken it, and it's like it's your word now, and you're
for the
not
most part.
people.
I mean, as long as it's not used to make fun of me, like if people
Derogatory.
are, it's all the tone. Be like,
Right.
oh, well, hey, you fucking midget, or fuck you, midget. Then I'm like, okay, no, back it up.
Right.
Then
And
you're
for
just
the
being an
black
ass.
people listening, we don't think that everybody believes that, we own the word. So don't be writing us or calling us, but a large section of black people do.
Thank you.
How did your
Thank you, John.
how did your parents deal with your situation?
Like with the dancing, or just me
Oh,
being
no,
little?
Just with being a little person. How did
Are your parents small, or are they normal size?
Both my parents are average height. My mom is a regular female's average height. My dad's like 6 foot tall, and I have a sister who's little too. And my mom, she came before me, and basically the doctors, were like, oh, your baby, they didn't know during ultrasound at the time, but basically, my mom put it like this, we had our first baby girl. She's healthy, but she's little.
That's beautiful.
And just kind of, break the ice from there, and then the family came around and, got to love us. And then when I was born, they could tell from an ultrasound that I was going to be small. And with our type of dwarfism, it was a 1 in 4 chance every time my parents had kids. 1 in 4 chance that we would be small.
Wow.
So
interesting. And then Lila, same question for you. Are you the only person in your family with spina bifida, and are you the shortest person in your family and all that good stuff?
Yes, so I am the only person in my family with spina bifida, and my parents had no idea when I was born that I would be born with a disability. So they didn't know till I came out, and I actually had to live in the hospital for like the first 3 months of my life because I had emergency surgery. So, as an adult now at 28, like I feel a lot more for my parents, because I just imagine how scary that would be to have a child and go through all of that. But I'm just so grateful, because I know that because my parents fought so hard for me in the hospital, and my mom, like, she just, my mom always likes to tell the story that when I was born, they told her that I'd never be able to walk, that I would have learning disabilities, and to not, really expect much because it was going to be hard. And my mom just said she refused to believe that, and that she really went out of her way to do a lot of therapy with me. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be able to walk, even if I walk with a little bit of a limp, I'm so grateful for my mom, and she truly is my best friend. And, my parents never treated me any different, which I think is why it wasn't until I was 21 that I really kind of went on this deep dive of disability, because like they just allowed me to do everything, and they didn't want me to feel like I was disabled, which looking back, it's like, I'm grateful they did it that way, because we all have our own journeys of this, but they just did the best that they could, and thankfully it worked out.
Now, where did you grow up?
So I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. So my dad is in the military. My mom is from the Philippines. They actually met in the Philippines. And then my dad's from Louisiana. So my first 7 years were in Hawaii, and then I grew up in Marysville, Washington.
Right on.
Coleman, and then moved to LA.
Marysville, Washington.
Yes,
So-
Marysville.
So ladies, this is the part of we get to the segment, you know, you're these goddesses, okay? You own what you do. Lila, you're fucking hilarious, and anybody who's watching this, you gotta book her, you gotta watch her. It's just fantastic, and it's so empowering. And Cassie, just meeting you now, but I absolutely love you. You're just this powerhouse goddess. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
And, but this is the part where it's like where we ask I am known, and Lila, you know this. I'm the scariest gay man in America. They call me Gay Thanos. Okay, we have Mike Murator over there. Okay, who the demon midget of the serial killer of comedy. Excuse me. And then we have the adult in the room, Jeff Killer. Okay, how can we help you solve a problem? So you think you got problems, America? Ladies, give us one problem that you have that we can solve for you right now. Cassie, I'm going to go with you first. We can go to Lally first. Cassie, we'll go with you first.
Well, I always make this joke that, you know, women that complain about being short, you know, like 5'2", you know, and I always tell them, you know what? You may not be able to reach on top of the fridge, but I can't reach on top of the fucking counter. So let's complain about how short you are, please. Complain about how short you are. You know,
I love it. So it doesn't sound like you have any problems. We don't need to kick anybody's ass for you. We don't need to beat.
I mean, like I said, I got the whole nut punching thing, and you know, in the bag. You know,
You've got to tell us about that. There's no way in the world.
I would pay money to watch you punch somebody.
Dude, like when people would make fun of me in high school, I would just go, you know, that spot behind your knee.
Yeah.
I'd go up and pinch the back of people's knees and run off. You know, just.
That's fucking brilliant. I love it. So how many nuts have you punched?
I cannot remember.
You probably
a lot of nut punching.
Yeah, same here. I love it too. I totally get you. It's an addicting thing.
Now,
But I haven't done it in a long time. I think the last time I did it was like 4 years ago.
Right on.
So at the end of the day with you, tell me this. What do you really want to do with your life? What would be the perfect scenario, what would be the perfect scenario for you for your life? You know, you want to be married, you want to have kids. What do you want to do?
I want to be a veterinarian after my dancing career and write a book about everything I've done and be a vet.
Amazing.
And what the one thing that really does get me that I would like to, you know, get across to the world is the fact that people, you know, sexualize little people as that they consider people that are attracted to little people pedophiles because we're short. And I want people to understand that is not okay to do. That is not even true. That is far from, you know, it's what in that person's brain, that's something you are going through. That's your issue. The fact that you have to categorize somebody who's short and say that anybody that's attracted to them is considered a pedophile, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
And
yeah.
you know, I want that stigma to end because it's not okay. We're adults. We're grown women, grown men. You know, I mean, maybe not necessarily grown, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, Mike is as tall as he's going to get too. I totally get it.
But the fact that happens, and it sickens me, you know, to categorize people. Yes, I mean, of course, there are going to be your creeps out there, but you can't say that every person that is attracted to a little person is considered a pedophile.
Now, have you had to deal with that? Like, if you were dating, did someone say they couldn't date you because of that? I mean, have you had that situation happen?
Or could Cassie, did you date people where they only dated you for that? Like they were like into a fetish, and how did that make you feel?
I've come across both situations, you know, and I've put it straight up to them, like, you guys are just, it hurts for you to
Right.
say that to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not okay. You know, you don't think that I get crap enough for, you know, just being little and then adding that on top of it, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I make them feel like idiots. You know, I put it
Mm.
in their brain that they are, you know, that what they did was just completely wrong. And then, you know, I've had people, you know, like I am in, you know, the adult entertainment, you know, business, and
Mm.
I've had certain requests that I've denied because I don't want to give that allowance.
Right.
You
Right
know, like
on.
if this is a legit pedophile and they're asking me for this request, I don't want to give into their fantasy for them.
Wow.
And
Right,
you
of
know,
course.
so I do advocate for that, and I do have, you know, boundaries and morals.
Right. Right. And Lila, the same thing for you. You're creating this animated series. You have your talk show. You have this beautiful boyfriend that takes care of you. What problems do you have that me, Mike, and Jeff can put our strong arms in there and help you out with?
Oh man, you know, I feel like I've been less problematic lately.
Hmm.
We haven't been
Mhm.
out dealing with people, so we've just
Right.
been really focused on our work. And I do have to say, Ron Bush has one of the best voices. I'm so excited because he is the voice of Jumbo the cat on my cartoon. Me and my
It's so
boyfriend
great.
put a cartoon together called Commander in Chief Cupcake. It's about our cupcake, our cat, and Ron did some voiceover work for us right before the pandemic. So I'm really excited because Jumbo is an amazing character, and we got the booming voice of Ron Bush to play.
Such a fun project. I can't wait, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. But you know, for me in my life, I just want to continue to write and to become the best stand-up comedian that I can be. You know, the most beautiful thing that I love about stand-up is that you just get better with time. You know, I could be an 80-year-old woman up there on stage talking. You just get better, and with more life experience, you get to talk about it. And I just, you know, want to be able to connect and talk with people. I would like to write my book this summer. I think that's what I really need to do, is write my book and kind of just get my life story out there. But yeah, I've really enjoyed talking with you guys.
That's
So happy
fantastic.
to get to see my friend Cassie because I miss her
That's
so
awesome.
much.
But for you,
my
Lila,
my last request to both of you ladies is if we were to dress up Mike and Jeff.
wait, hold up on that, Rondo. But hold on, I want to talk with Lila though, because she said something earlier about what happened to her in Pullman and that. And what do you want people to know when they do stuff like that? I mean, that's a serious issue. It mess with your self-esteem. What do you want people? What do you want people to know about when they do that to somebody that's in your situation?
You know, it really is, to be rejected by all those women and from those sororities, it really hurt me so much so that it really led me into, you know, the depths of my alcoholism. But what is so crazy is to think that now those same people and some of those same women who did that, you know, they're now fans of my stand-up. And I've had people write me and apologize to me for their actions back then, which has been really great. And I really do appreciate that, because I think it does take a lot to admit when you're wrong and when you've made a mistake. And, you know, so I do appreciate the people who have reached out to me to just apologize for some of the things they said to me in college or in high school. But your words are powerful, and the way that you treat people, you know, it does matter, because, you know, I really have to give it up to my higher power, because it, you know, I could have really given into just the sadness that really put me into, you know, and it took me to some really dark places, because you just feel so alone and you feel like nobody likes you and you feel like you're so different and you're never going to fit in and this and that. But, you know, I just want to tell people out there who might be struggling and who do feel so different to not give up, because when I was 23, I wanted to kill myself, and now I'm 28 and I have an amazing life, even in this pandemic. You know, I truly am happy, and I'm so grateful to just have my boyfriend and my cats and my comedy friends and to have people like Ron Bush and Cassie in my life. And if I gave up and if I didn't fight, you know, to live and to kind of overcome a lot of these insecurities, I wouldn't be here today and be able to share my story. So.
And I think what's interesting too about both of you, I think people, like, you would definitely be a motivating factor for them regardless of where they come from, or you know, because it's interesting because you two have had to deal with some real issues in life that people take for granted because they've never been in that situation. So it's interesting why, you know, what I love about both of you is when I met you, it's completely different than what I expected in a beautiful way. Like what you two bring to the table is really an interesting thing, because I have a friend that has spina bifida, but their situation's completely different than both of yours, but similar, like a similar struggle. But it's interesting how you both overcome it, because the thing is, he has a lot of problems dealing with it, whereas you two, you've kind of used it to become successful. Rather than complain about it, you've kind of used it as a weapon to grow from.
You know, I just want to say this one thing that's really kind of unique about me and Cassie. So Cassie is 2'10", I'm 4'6". But when I sit down and me and Cassie sit down next to each other, because my torso, because of my spinal surgeries and the curvature of my back, we actually are the same size when we're sitting. I just have long legs.
Wow.
So when I stand up, I'm taller. But when we're sitting at a restaurant or we're sitting on the couch, we're literally sitting at the same height.
We share the same clothes sometimes.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so
really
cute.
cool.
That is so cute. So we'll close it out like this. Mike, what you can't see is Mike has the body of a parakeet. He's like, you know, and so he walks. And Jeff used to be a professional football player, okay, and he used to have this gorgeous head of hair, and now he's Black Mr. Clean, but they won't hire him as such, okay, and I think it's discrimination.
Well, see, Ron, you know, you're just jealous because we don't like you like that.
I know. Listen, I'm not denying that, okay, I'm just saying, you know, how, Cassie and Lila, how can we make Mike and Jeff, okay, how can we make Mike and Jeff the most popular male strippers in the country?
Slow down now. Slow down, Ron.
I'd have to become somebody else.
Ron trying to get a cheaper than I, man.
I think we got to get them an act, because, you know, they have to get a theme. Cassie's good at that. She's got a couple of themes when she goes out and features.
I mean, if Mike can go get his or if, what's the other guy with the glasses? What's your name?
Mike.
So I was right. No, what the other guy with the one that
Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah, Black Mr. Clean.
Jeff. I'd get on that. You know.
Okay.
Go get that throwback.
See that?
See, Ron? You tried to hate. Ron tried to hate.
I don't think
Ron
Jeff
tried
can
to
handle it.
hate. Bam!
That's hilarious.
I don't think Jeff can handle it. I don't think
As
he can handle it.
Paul
I'm
Mooney
just
would
gonna say
say,
that now.
hey, as Paul Mooney would say, homie, got you.
Hilarious.
Well, ladies, first of all, from the bottom of my heart, and Lila, you know I love you, and I learned more about you today that I didn't know, and I absolutely adore you, and
You're the best.
I admire who you are as a person. I admire your comedy. You're business savvy. You understand where you're going. Cassie, the more I get to know you, I completely understand why you're best friends with Lila. And I just absolutely, I love how you own this and how much you love yourself. And I love the fact that you punch men in the nuts. We both
I would pay to watch that.
different reasons. We do it for totally different reasons.
So
but
you never
what?
want to piss off somebody that's, you know, waist high. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Just
Don't
don't.
do it.
Now, that's
Don't
Ron's
do it,
thing.
you know?
He loves punching the dudes in the nuts. That's his thing.
I'll pass it to you ladies first and then to the other guys. Is there any final thoughts, any final words for until you think you got problems?
I just want to say thank you so much, Ron. I love you so much. My
Thank you.
sister loves your stand-up. You made her laugh so hard when she came to visit LA, and she got to see you perform. She still talks about it.
Awesome.
But this is actually my first interview that I've done in the pandemic, and it's because I love Ron so much that I agreed to do it.
Thank you.
This has been such a joy, and I'm so happy you guys got to talk with my best friend Cassie, because I love her so much. I miss you. But yeah, you can all follow me at Love Lila Hart.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been fun. You guys are hilarious. And I don't know about a final thought. Just be yourself always. Don't let anybody take your light. You know, just love yourself and fuck everybody else that doesn't love you.
There you go.
For the most part.
Absolutely.
You can follow me on Instagram,
Mike,
Sassee Casse 89.
Yeah.
Go ahead, say it again, Cass, so they can hear you.
Oh, Sassee Casse 89, but it's spelled differently. It's got 2 S's and 2 E's in each. No IE. So Sassy with 2 S's and 2 E's, Cassie with 2 S's and 2 E's, and then 89.
There you go.
Perfect. Mike, any final thoughts, brother?
It was a pleasure meeting both of you ladies. Very inspirational.
Yeah, truly. And Jeff?
Yeah, I enjoyed you guys. I enjoyed your stories about your journeys and that. Of course, anytime somebody on here from Washington State go Cougs, I get excited.
Yeah, go Cougs.
You can follow me at Instagram, My Mom's White. You can follow me on Twitter, My Mom's White. And you can follow me on Facebook as Jeff Keller. So there you go.
Yeah, follow me, ladies. Follow me on Instagram. Serial killer of comedy, like killer.
You got it.
And Ron Bush is at Ron Bush.
Did we lose Ron? Oh, we gone.
I don't know.
I think
There you go,
you
Ron.
are.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Ron.
I think we got kicked.
No, we good. Go ahead.
Everybody still there?
Do your closing remarks.
All right. My name is Ron Bush. On Instagram at Ron.Bush, #1 for Instagram. This has been another episode of And You Think You Got Problems.
You got problems.
You think you got problems.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you, ladies.